What if the movement your soul has been craving was never about fitness, but about freedom? In this episode, I sit down with a radiant force that is Tara Newbigging, creator of the B Class, a global somatic movement revolution that's not just changing bodies, but transforming lives. From the freezing wilds of northern Canada to retreat spaces across the globe, Tara shares how she follows the whispers of her spirit to build something the world didn't even know it needed. What started as a dance class became a sanctuary for women to come alive, shed shame, and meet the version of themselves they were always meant to be. We go deep into how the B Class became more than a brand. It became a global movement. A movement that invites you to drop the mask, turn up the music, and remember who you are. We talk all about human design, spiritual downloads, somatic healing, and what it truly means to create from alignment rather than strategy. If you've ever felt like there's a fire in your belly that the world keeps trying to dim, this conversation will light the match again. Tara is the lighthouse, and this episode, it's the invitation your soul has been waiting for. Welcome to another episode of Unleashed and Empowered. And today we are going all the way around the world to Canada. We've got the beautiful Tara with us. Tara has started the B Class over in Canada and has then managed to miraculously bring it over to the US via Jenny and a few others. But we'll be diving into that in just a moment. Tara, welcome on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. Tara, the way I start these podcasts is with a little bit of an introduction. We all know that we don't just land where we are today. We know that there is always a whole lot of trial and error, especially you as a 3-5 in human design. And there is usually some sort of a corporate venture or something life-changing in your life that has led you to where you are today. Why don't you give us a little bit of a background?
Okay, so I did my degree in health promotion. My major was in health promotion, human kinetics, kinesiology. And all through school, I always had this interest in the fitness side of things. So the wellness, movement, body, all that kind of that area. And I took my personal training and my fitness instructor at a very young age. So when I was 18 years old, I decided to take my personal training certification with a company called CanFit Pro here in Canada. And I started working at a gym and teaching fitness classes at, I guess I was, 18, 19, 20 years old. Loved it. I absolutely loved it. I got to get up there and share my energy and just play air traffic controller to control the room, to create an experience that people could just like feel. And I fell in love with it. And then when I was 22, I moved to Yellowknife, Northwest Territories, way up north in Canada, where we experienced temperatures of -50, which I don't even think in Australia you would ever experience that.
No. The coldest that I've experienced was -25 in the Dolomites in the Italian Alps, and that was cold enough for me. Wow.
Yeah. So needless to say, I ventured up to the north. Everyone asks why. I went with a boyfriend at the time. He was an entrepreneur getting on with Canadian Tire, and I saw an opportunity in the North. I felt like there needed to be this push for health and wellness and fitness classes, and it just needed a little spark. It needed a little bit of a lift. So I started teaching Zumba classes and doing, one-on-one clients, hour after hour. I spent every day, every hour in the gym with people, coaching them, not just their bodies, but getting to know them as their individual selves and their lives. And they became friends, they became clients, and my client load became so big that I decided to open up a studio.
Wow.
So when I was 27 years old, I signed that bricks and mortar and I opened up a studio in the north. And it was the first place in my life where I had this I think it was 2,500 square feet. And I had no one telling me what I could and couldn't do. I could turn the lights off if I wanted the lights to be dimmer. I could let women be in bare feet. I could just teach whatever I wanted at whatever time, whatever schedule I wanted. And that was starting to feel really comfortable for me because I was always hitting these roadblocks, and you would know as my projector self, I'd hit these moments where, oh, I feel like I'm being capped out here. So I just need to go this way and do my own thing. So that's what I did. And in doing so, I still remember it. I was, at that time, I was 28 years old and all my worlds collided where Zumba and fitness and inspirational music and
Wow.
dance and all of those life coaching moments that I had with my personal training clients, I was just like, I'm going to do this all through one thing. And
Wow.
I just morphed it all together. It happened for me. I tell people, like at the moment in
Yeah.
life, I had a lot of stuff that I think I was needing to get messages from and feelings for and work through things. And I just started linking in these, at the time, these fun fitness dance moves. And, women just kept showing up. Every night there was 50 women at this class. And before I knew it, they would just keep showing up, and that was the only class they wanted to do.
Wow.
And I knew the night when one of the songs started speaking about bravery and your future and living your dreams. I knew that 6 months into my lease, I was like, oh boy, it's time to go. It's time to leave. And it's time to kind of like spread my wings and leave this little fishbowl of success. And I had reached every single goal and every single dream that I had ever thought possible. And I don't know, it was just that nudge of like, it's time to go, it's time to go. So I left, I closed down the studio. I followed myself to this place, more in the mountains where there was outdoor play, where my spirit could come alive a bit more, where I felt like there was more than just work. I was work in the north. And then I came into a place of like, oh, a little bit more playfulness. I knew nobody. And I had a really low time during that transition to go from having everything to having nothing. But I knew that I was right where I needed to be. And I took the first leap and I started certifying a couple of girls to see if the program was transferable. I had to ask myself, can I share this with other women? Can they like do this thing, or is this thing just me? So yeah, I certified those girls. They went to their hometowns, they shared it, and the same stuff started happening. Women just fell in love with
Wow.
it. They had the same somatic releases and the same beautiful experiences. And then I just ran with it. I ran with it for the next, oh goodness, that was 2013 to 2019. I just boom, 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 blew the brand up. And I think in 2019, we had about 100 instructors all over Canada, all over Australia, all over the US. And we were
Wow.
running retreats in Mexico. Leader trainings were happening all the time. All these little small towns were popping up with B class. And I literally told myself, I knew this was going to happen. I could see it. I could see it. I could feel it. I just had to like keep trusting myself. And I always used to say, this could be like the next big brand, the next big
Yeah.
fitness brand. And yeah, and then we hit, 2020, and
Oh,
things changed a
boom.
little bit.
It did.
Hmm.
Wow, what a story. I mean, there is so much that I could literally dive into just from your introduction. So, thank you so much for sharing that with us. For those people that don't know what a B class is, talk us through the essence of it.
Oh, it's like, it's so different depending on who I'm talking to. I'm just going to close my eyes for a moment, but the B class to me is this place where the world shuts off and I come alive in my spirit and not my head. My whole head turns off, and the music speaks to me, and I move my body in ways that connect with um, whatever it is that I'm trying to share through the music. So um, basically, the B class it's a beautiful space for women to come and just lay all their burdens down, to completely let go, and to be transformed through the music while getting an amazing workout. It's not just a dance class. And it's not just a kick-ass workout. It's this beautiful weaved marriage of both. And to be honest with you, I think what makes it so unique is the spiritual aspect of B class. Is that spirit is in B class. It is in the
Yeah.
songs, it is in the
Yeah.
room, it is in every single leader that teaches it because they have been chosen to lead this and be that vessel to share the program through. So B class is it's a dance fitness empowerment program for women to just unleash themselves and to get out of their head and walk through those blockages that they may have created for themselves. And I think these blockages in our lives, they get stuck in our body, and the songs help us break through a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I could not agree more with absolutely everything that you have just said, because that's exactly what the B class is for me. And I think the B class found me at the time where I hadn't been moving my body, and it literally just landed in my world. It was like my body loves movement. I have always moved my body, and somehow I ended up in this place where it was just like, I know I need to do something, but I don't know what it is. I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to have the traditional stuff, and I need to get more in touch with my feminine side again, because obviously I was in corporate and I was so my masculine that I was like, how on earth am I going to do this? And then I actually had been fangirling Jenny for such a long time because I started a retreats business in when was it? 2021. Obviously, in the middle of the global shutdown, as you do, you start a retreats business in the middle of a global shutdown. And so I had been following a certain amount of people that I wanted to eventually collaborate with, because I'm a dreamer of the dream, but I'm not the executor of it. You know, I don't have a yoga certificate, and I don't teach meditation or anything like that. So interestingly enough, I had been following her, but I just had not come across B class. And so the first time that she taught it, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is so incredible. And as you say, you know, it's a somatic release, it's empowering. My business is called Empowered by Alice, so clearly this is right up my alley. Even my number plate on my car is empowered. So I just loved everything that it brought. But it also, because of that spiritual aspect, it also brings the most incredible women together. And I think, you know, whenever you enter the room, there is no judgment. There is nobody that says, oh, you're not showing up fully today, or you're moving your body in a weird way today. There is nothing like that. And it's just the presence is trying to drop into your heart, as you're saying, get out of your head, and just actually feel what's happening in the body, let the emotions come up. The amount of times that I'm tearing up during a B class is ridiculous, but it's always, the songs are always exactly what I needed to hear on that day. And that is so beautiful to me. And this is why I'm so excited, obviously, to have you on the podcast today, because I would love for more people to know about the B class and the power that it has.
Thank you. Yeah, I just I think it's grown so organically in such a beautiful way, and I myself really would love more people to know about it. Love more people to experience it, and I just opened up my mind and my heart again in this last year to say, okay, I'm open to more instructors. I'm open to giving this method to more women again. You know, obviously from 2020 to 2022, I went through a really hard time, and a lot of stuff went on. And I kind of closed off for a couple of years. The girls that stuck with me and were leading it from, you know, the whole from 2020 to 2024. They were all there. They were all there. They were still teaching, but I was closed. I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I haven't got that like boom, yes. And like I know the potential, but nothing was really happening. And just in these last couple of months, I've certified some more girls in Canada. Jenny has, a crew of women in Australia that she's kind of starting to funnel to certify. And we obviously want to grow that even more around Australia. I have this huge itch in my belly now that I'm out in BC to find more women in BC because Alberta is, so full of instructors. Now I'd like to hit up this province here, and just kind of saying yes to that, me saying that out loud and being like, okay, I'm going to figure it out. It's going to happen when it's supposed to. And releasing control of how it all happens is the most important thing.
Yeah, yeah. And interestingly enough, that was the message that I got very clearly this morning after listening to an audiobook. I'm not usually an audiobook person, but because, I'm a little bit congested from this bloody cold, I was like, okay, I'm listening to an audiobook. And it was really around the trust. It was around the letting go of the control of how things need to look like in this moment and how they're coming into the world and how they're being birthed, and just really knowing that everything is always perfect timing. And there is timing when things need to be in winter, when they need to be, nurtured and cared for, and it's a little bit of a slower time. And then we enter this spring phase and things are starting to emerge in a different way to perhaps how we didn't even anticipate it. And the beautiful thing with you is you're obviously a projector 3-5. And we just in the intro very quickly had a very brief chat around your human design. As a 3-5, you cannot fail. It is literally impossible for you to fail. It's literally a invitation for you to just let things evolve as they go, and then making the most out of every one of those situations, and just seeing where spirit and where the universe wants to take this to. And from your introduction, you have fully embodied that, and I take my hat off to you. I wish more people had that knowledge, but that's the reason why you are the guide of the guides and why you do what you do. And it's just really beautiful to see how you intuitively have embraced this, and how you didn't seem to have needed too much guidance around your human design. It probably was more like a confirmation to say, yeah, what I'm doing is right.
Yeah, because when I built all this, I had no idea about my human design. It's just the last couple of years learning a little bit more. Um, and I have to say that that whole trusting and the whole letting go of control has been a practice that I've had to build. And definitely it feels like Spirit has given me a gift. This whole brand is a gift. And it's almost like I don't know how to use this terminology, but I'm like, when I use the gift properly in the right ways, it's like I get gifted more. And then when I
Yes.
try to go down an avenue that's inappropriate or not right, even in my thought process, even if I start to think negatively, like, oh, I can't create, I've got nothing, I've lost my creative bug or whatever, even if I start doing that, I won't be gifted. So I have to really keep trusting. And honestly, Alice, I don't know what my life would look like if I didn't have this in it.
And this is the magical thing. I think, we all really underestimate the power that we're holding as individuals. And somehow through society, we were told that we needed to go down this very defined or predefined path of, corporate life, a degree, whatever it might look like, potentially kids or marriage, building or buying a house. And I think the more we're starting to realize the power that we have and the power of leaning into joy. And we are here to be joyous and to spread joy. And this is exactly what you're doing. And it's getting us to a higher vibration in our day to day, especially when we still hang out during the day in some of the lower vibration areas. It's just like, no. Remember, this is your state of being. This should be your normal.
Mhm.
And this is what makes this so magical. And I really can't wait to see where this might take you and where it might take the movement. And I'm so up for a retreat in Mexico if that's not just for instructors. I mean, seriously, just bring it all together. It's like, remind people of the power of coming together in circles. I was always someone who said, women's circles is not quite my thing. But then it's probably just not my thing to, create beautiful little flower crowns and put them on my head. Maybe I'm more of a mainstream circle person who wants to come together and to just tackle some of the problems that we have these days, and just trying to figure out, well, how can we change it even just by like 1 degree, and how can we come more into alignment, and yeah, everything that you do is just beautiful.
You know what I was just thinking about, and you're gonna laugh when I tell you this, but you know how as a projector I'm supposed to like wait for the invitation?
Well, I just gave you one.
feel like I feel like well, first of all, I used to go to Mexico and run retreats all the time. I put that on pause the last couple of years, and I keep getting the little nudge again. So I will be doing that again. I just have to like take the action step. Um, but the thing about the invitation, what I love is that each song is like I get to express how I feel and what I want to say without asking for the invitation. And it's like, here it is. Here it
But you
is.
know, the thing is, the invitation. So this is, I think, where a couple of projectors are getting tripped up, because they're waiting for a physical invitation. But invitations can come through songs. They can come through hearing a conversation. They can come through reading a newspaper article. Or it could be through, you know, jumping on LinkedIn or jumping on Instagram and reading something. That can be an invitation from the universe for you to go out and say, this is what I'm observing, this is what I'm seeing. And even having a community, which you have built such a massive one, we have given you a lifelong invitation to share what it is that you're here to share. So yeah, I just want to give you that permission to not always have to wait and say, have I been invited here or have I not been invited here?
Yeah, yeah. I know. And I think sometimes just in the last, last couple of years, I shut down all of my just putting myself out there a bit. I shut it down for a bit, but it was so good for me to do that. And now I think that it's my time to just step out a bit more.
Well, I think the time is now and the time is ready. And we're obviously at this point in time where there is such a massive shift and acceleration in consciousness again, where, yeah, we need to shake things off and need to let go of those old limiting beliefs and those old ways of doing things. And so you're obviously the guide, the light shower, the lighthouse for us to show us what that can look like moving forward. And I don't know whether Jenny shared this with you, but Jenny's obviously part of my beautiful mastermind. And as part of the mastermind, everyone who is part of the mastermind has an opportunity to introduce what it is that they do. And so on Friday, we were literally in the park just down the road, and we were doing B class in the park. So it was the first time for me to experience B class in nature and without a mirror. Actually, no, the first one was without a mirror, but now I'm sort of a little bit more observant and a little bit more conscious. And it was so beautiful to be amongst the trees, and we had the butterflies flying around and we had the birds chiming in, and, you know, obviously the neighborhood became alive. And I was like, wow, there is something in B class in nature, bare feet on the grass, and just being amongst the elements and just letting down that guard. So I would love to see more B class in nature.
Yes, we do it outside every once in a while as like special like pop-up classes. Not something that we do all the time because I feel like it can get distracting outside, but it is so nice in the summertime sometimes to do an outdoor class.
Yeah, because, you know, especially when you're a recovering perfectionist and, you know, that A-type personality. And for me, I'm quite happy these days to be new at something, you know, like to not be perfect and to not look like the ballerina that I may have been when I was a little child. But there is this level of self-judgment when we have the mirror in front of us where we see, even though, you know, the light might be dimmed, but in Australia we still have summertime daylight savings, so it still gets dark quite late. And there was a beauty in not seeing yourself and just dropping more into the body and just letting it do its thing. And I'm always at the front, so I never watch anyone behind me. I'm always at the front because that way it's like, nah, I'm just doing my thing here. This is my class. I'm showing up for myself, but it was just this next level dropping in, which was so beautiful.
Totally. The front is the best place to be. I don't know how people go to the back. The front is like where you need to be. And in that whole mirror situation, I love it because I see both sides, and I appreciate and I love both sides to the mirror and the non-mirror. And this is something that we talk about in the training. There are quite a few locations where people do teach without mirrors. But when I first created it, I think the mirror was such a tool for me to see my true self. And I would be teaching, and I'd be like, because I was going through at the time, I was going through a lot of like personal stuff too. And I was, I'd be sad, but then my work would bring me alive. And then I'd be like, what am I doing living way up here? And then my work would bring me alive, and I'd come back alive in my light, in my purpose. And every time I taught a B class and I watched the room and I felt the energy, and then I like saw my spirit in front of me, and I was like, her, that's the girl in the mirror. Like, there she is. Like, that's who I am. So all that other stuff, like, keep pulling. It's like I wanted to like pull myself into the mirror, into that girl, into that person. And I love the mirror as a tool because I love when I see a woman turn down the rest of the world and she's so in on herself and she's got the moves and she's forgotten about like, oh, do I look fat in these pants? Or, oh, like how am I, what do I look like? When all of that gets thrown aside, and I know that that's one of my purposes is to help people break through the physical world and really rein them into this more spiritual aspects of who they are in their essence of themselves. And I feel like that's what makes B class unique. When you walk into that room, it's like you're not here to change yourself. You're not here just for the external body workout. No one is judging you. Like, everyone is there to crave that feeling that gets cultivated when we all tune into ourselves through the music.
How do the songs land with you? Because there are some of the songs where I have never heard them in my entire life. And I would call myself a music junkie. Like, there is not a day in my life where I don't listen to some sort of music, especially obviously the empowerment music. And some of the songs that you have chosen, I literally had to pull them into a custom Spotify list. And, when I have mornings where I doubt myself or where I have something big coming up, even, launching this podcast and doubting myself, I put on these songs and I belt them out in my car, driving along the beach. And then I'm like, yeah, this is me. I can conquer the world today. This is amazing.
I love it. So when I first started, I think the songs found me. Like, they would come and I'd be like, okay, here we go. And they would find me. And then I went through this phase where I constantly would just like listen to music. And then I would feel a song and create it. There'd be moments when I'd be in the middle of a coffee shop and I would run up and I would like Shazam the song and be like, what the heck is it? And it's like I couldn't hear the words, but I could feel, I was like, I need to know the song. And I could feel the beat. And then I would Shazam it, and then I would go back into my car or go home, and I'd be like, holy cow, the words, the messaging. I'm like, okay, I guess it's meant to be. Let's just do this. Or I'll have a master list because instructors now, so now that I have such a big team, the leaders, they send me songs. So then I compile it into a playlist. And whenever I feel like, I feel a little bit of a creative like bug coming on, I'll listen to the song sometimes when I'm driving, or it will just come on and I'll be like, oh, okay, I need to create to this. So they find me, the songs find me, or the leaders send them to me, and they get birthed when they're supposed to be. Cause I'll have a playlist and I'm like, oh, these songs are so good. But they will come out when they want to come out. Because I have ones right now where I'm like, oh, I want to do this song so bad. But it's like, I can't choose it. It has to choose me.
Wow. Do you have a ritual of some description to kind of get into your creative flow?
Oh no. I feel like as I get, I just turned 40, and when I was in my, when I was in my 30s, it just worked so easily. And I also, to be honest, Alice, I think when I was in my studio, when I had time with the mirrors, with the sound system, easy accessible, it was almost like I had a constant stage that I could just jump onto and like see myself in those mirrors. And I miss that studio so much. I don't have that now. Creation happened so much easier because I was in the environment more. Now I'm not in the environment as much. I don't have my own studio. I've got my virtual space. It's not set up with mirrors anymore, so I find myself struggling to create a little bit. But then I just, it comes in waves. It definitely comes in waves, and I think sometimes in the winter I can hit a season of a little bit of like lull. But then now we're heading into spring, and I feel now I have to just be like, okay, I have to carve out space. I have to take time, and I need to like lock myself in here. Or I need to go and walk and listen to music more, because it's when I'm not trying to make the move. It's when I'm just driving and I see the move, or I'm driving and I'm like, oh, okay, here it is. Yeah,
Wow.
it's weird. It's so weird. I don't know. I'm grateful for it. Um, it's definitely special because anyone can put music and movement together. Anyone can do this. But I've seen lots of stuff before where people try to do this, and I'm like, and I'm not being conceited that it's like just me, but I watch and I'm like, I don't feel that. I don't feel that. And then a B class creation will come, or I'll be in a B class. I'm like, I don't know why, but I just feel it. It came from above. I don't know.
Look, and I think, that's kind of the gift that you were giving, because projectors, they see the world so different. And obviously, you all have your own very unique genius that gets developed over the course of your life, and obviously through your human design as well. And I think because you have observed so much, and because you have instructed all these different methods, that you have been able to then free yourself out of that cage and then just say, I'm going to just use the really beautiful aspects of all of this, and I'm going to mesh it up into my own version. And you trusted the process. And, as the 3-5, I'm sure there were songs where you're like, you know what, that could have been done a little bit better, but that's okay. It brought something out. And I think from what Jen said, you now have a list of 400 songs. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's crazy. Because every time I go to B class, it's like, well, what new songs are we getting exposed to today? And then obviously Jen says, I know this is a really old song. Like this is from, whenever. And I was like, oh, wow, no, I have not danced to that before. And I can't remember the exact time frame, but I think I've now done it regularly for over a year. So I would assume that I have been exposed to quite a few songs. But yeah, there's still these surprises. It's like, oh, and when you get those full body goosebumps, and then you just have the movement, and it's just like, oh, yeah, that's what I'm coming for. This is just, oh, so
What
nurturing.
What's your favorite song? Like, what song hits you deep?
Uh, uh, I probably can't tell you what some of those songs are called, but the one where you feel like you push the energy away, or you call the energy in. So anything that has those really big moves, I would have to look them up. I'll put some into the show notes that are my favorites.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the ones where I'm like, oh, I'm really letting go of this now. I'm really pulling that one in right now. And but then I also really appreciate the Shavasana at the end, where you just come back into your body. And I always, stretch and move a little bit according to what my body's asking for, and really listen to the messages of the songs, because English is not my first language. So a lot of the songs that I grew up with, I sang along, but I actually had no idea what they meant. And now when I stop and listen, I'm like, oh, is that what they're saying? Or is that what I've been singing? So there is a little bit of that aspect with me too, which is quite hilarious sometimes.
But you know
But
what? I'm gonna cap on that. The girls in Quebec that all speak French,
oh, of course.
they don't know what some of the like some that are bilingual, but there is a lot of girls that don't know English and they still feel the song.
They feel it,
So they
exactly.
don't know what it's saying, but they feel it.
Yeah, you feel the vibration behind it. And I think, a lot of people always say, oh, I can't feel energy and I can't feel this. I mean, you and I, we're not empaths, but it doesn't mean that we can't feel the energy behind something, behind a room, behind music. We all know what makes us feel alive, and that's obviously great energy. And we know what drags us down, and that's obviously not the energetic environment that we should be in necessarily. So yeah, it's always, I always find it interesting. I think, like, songs also find us
Yes.
during those classes, and that's really special.
So special.
So what's next for B class? Do you want to talk a little bit about what is unfolding in Australia? I know that I'm recording another podcast with Jen very soon, but have you two mashed up a little bit of a vision of what you want to bring to life in Australia in particular?
Yeah, so Jen is beautifully putting the B class out there a lot more in Australia. She's scouting new women to come join the team, to become leaders, to teach in areas that aren't just in Adelaide. We really want to grow all around. Um, and I feel like she's got this vision to travel a little bit and go take B class to some of those little locations. And then I hope that when that happens, then I can come down there and there's a whole bunch of instructors and I can go travel around too.
Yes, please. We have to put like our favorite spots on the map, and then we'll have to, we call them sort of our quarterly retreats with Jen.
Yeah,
Well, a few of us have already said, like there's a few places like Byron Bay that we want to get to, or
yes.
the West Coast is really special. So, I mean, if you're going to come along as well, that would just be the icing on the cake.
I would love to come out there one day. I think the flight scares me a little bit, but that's okay. I'll figure it out. But yeah, just to see this grow, like you guys are literally like you guys are underneath us. And I just think, obviously, so here's the thing. Vienna brought B class to Australia. Have you met Vienna?
No, I haven't. Oh, can you dive into that story a little bit as well, how that happened? Because I think that's quite a magical story too.
It is. It is so beautiful. Vienna is such a bright light. She is full of spirit, and she showed up at a class in Calgary, Alberta, and fell in love with it. We all fell in love with her. I remember her, her moves. She was so into it, and she was just so bright. And I told her, I said, "You're going to teach this class one day." And she thought I was crazy. She thought I was crazy because she's like, "Me? Who am I to teach this? I'm not like a fitness professional." And Vienna. She's like, "Why are people going to do class with me?" And I just said, "Oh, don't you worry. They're going to do class with you." And then I already said to her, I was like, "And you're going to take this back to Australia." I did not wait for the invitation. I just told her how it was going to be. And she laughed at me, but then we built this beautiful friendship over the last couple of years when she was in Canada, and she sat in and she did leader trainings with me. She taught her own classes. She understood the essence of helping someone become certified. And then when she left Canada, I said, "Girl, this is your time." I said, you gotta go find a place. You gotta go find a place. You gotta teach. And she got there and I kept telling her, like, find a place, find a place. And then she walked into Jenny's studio
Wow.
and she said to Jenny, "I have this thing I want to share with you." And then Jenny said yes. So imagine Jenny turned her away. This never would have been.
I know, but luckily Jenny has a little bit of a background in dancing as well, which
Yeah,
always comes to life when she teaches.
I know.
And I think it was just again a match made in heaven, and the universe just conspiring to this relationship and this opening up of something new.
Yeah, yeah. Just finding all these little like these right people, these right connections, these right links. And when I sit and I think about all the women that share it, I know them all, and I talk to them all, and I, have at some point in my life connected with all of them. They all share such a beautiful. There's like a union between all of them. They have this
Yeah.
like special thing. So.
And so, as Jenny is going to take this around Australia, and as she's going to ignite B class in all these places that perhaps wouldn't usually get to experience something so special, if there is anyone that's going to feel really called to do something with it, what is the essence of an instructor? Because as you just said, there might be people that don't have a background in personal training. What are some of the essences that you're finding in your instructors?
Ooh, yeah, that's a big question. Um, they don't have to have a fitness background. I would say it's more about their spirit. It's more about that shining bright light that feels in their gut and in their belly. They're like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I want to do this so bad. And then we take their hand and we hold them. And if they can understand music, if they can hear music, if they can move their body to the music, if they can, um, I always say, be that air traffic controller of the room, but not be too big that you're distracting.
Yeah,
Be loving, be welcoming, be warming. Um, Literally, like, be a disciple of spirit. So
I
just
love that.
be an open heart and want the best for mankind. And I think that that's like, you know, all judgment, all fear aside, all insecurities, we all have that. We all have that. But if you can find that woman that's like, yeah, I want to put all that aside and I just want to create a room of love and light, that's who we're looking for.
Wow.
And people that are not just like all about the business side of things, like I get it,
Yeah.
this is a business and it is, but when you treat it the way it wants to be treated, it will gift you. But when you're
Yes.
like just focused on the business side of things, it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And I think, this is sort of where the energetic side comes in. And I was really reflecting on that this morning, just thinking the old way of doing business is obviously out. Like, we're not living in consciousness where the old paradigm still holds up and holds stable. And so I think, everyone who now has a business or runs a business that is profit first and then everything else stands behind it, it doesn't work. So I think, and this is why I love bringing the energetic alignment into business these days, because if you are that flow through of spirit, and where all your passions collide into something, and you're just truly wanting the best for everyone, and then you apply the business principles on top of it, revenue and profits and money will automatically take care of itself. But we can't be sitting there as spiritually inclined and heart-centered leaders to just, manifest everything and then just wait for everything to drop into our lap. It doesn't work that way. We're going to have to work through fear. We're going to have to work through all our limiting beliefs. We have to put all of that aside, and we have to trust. And sometimes that trust is so incredibly hard, especially, signing up to a lease when you don't know if what your heart desires is the right thing. And so it's almost like you need to jump over that cliff and just really pray and hope that the universe catches you.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens in Australia. I feel big things happening, big things coming. And I'm so grateful to have Jenny and Vienna and the girls in Australia sharing it. Um, And on Canada, on this side here, I actually, to be honest with you, I feel like it's going to grow in Australia a lot these next few years, more so than in Canada. I just feel that. I feel Jenny's got a big fire in her belly and she's taken it on as her mission and she believes in it and she just is so amazing and she loves me and I love her and I think she also has seen what I've created and she believes in it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think, the way that she shares it as well is so authentic and so in integrity.
Mhm.
And this is sort of what I was alluding to as well. If you can just feel it in every cell of your body that whatever the person in front of that room teaches, if they believe so much in it, then you can't help but spread the fire. And I don't know whether you know much about your incarnation cross, the right angle cross of contagion. We're actually sharing that cross. You and I have the same cross, even though my birthday is in August and I'm an 1982 baby. You have the 30 on top, I have the 29 on top. So there is a slight variance in it. But for you, it's all about desire and it's all about what your heart desires. You need to have a full body yes, and you need to have a full commitment. Like 99% for us is not possible. That's not commitment. That we need that 100%. And for me, it's just that fully saying yes. And for you, it's fully following your desire. And as long as that desire and that fire in your heart is active, you have to sign up to this contract to say, all right, I'm just going to be that and I'm going to share that with the world.
I love, human design. You can tell me all the things about human design.
Yeah, that was just sort of a very top line. But yeah, we also share the 2838 channel, which is the channel of struggle. So we both probably had our fair share of struggle in our life. But what that also means, again, is this fire to say when we believe in something, we're going to bring it out no matter what, and it will be successful no matter what. We will find a way.
Yeah.
And I think that's just what you're embodying so beautifully, and with the people that you have surround yourself with. And to obviously bring this into other geographies and into other locations. I mean, I'm already seeing Jenny teaching a big class in front of some big, massive monuments in Australia and some really crazy places. And I can't wait to go on that journey with her because she will take us there in her heart and she's going to share the essence and the energy of that place with us through live streams. I think that's how it's going to work. So how much of live streaming do you do if anyone wants to experience the B class, but there is currently no instructors where they are?
So I have an on-demand platform so people can do videos online. I used to do quite a few live experiences. I haven't done one in a while, so maybe I should consider that. It was going really well for a while, and then things kind of like died down a little bit. So I just listened to that and pulled back from that again. But yeah, I always post them when I am doing them. And then I put them onto the recorded version of the on-demand program. So then people can go and do the recordings at any time that they want. But
Oh, that's amazing.
yeah, yeah. I would say I think I stopped doing it, to be honest with you, because I felt like there should have been more people on there and there wasn't. And then I like felt a little bit of like, huh. But I think it's just timing, timing.
Look, and I think also with you as the guide of the guides, it's also important for you to acknowledge that you obviously only have a very limited battery, even though it's a very potent one, but it's a very limited one. So for you to do one-to-one, even though it is not truly one-to-one, it's one to a smaller group, that's probably limiting your ability to spread this around the globe. And so if you just continue to also find people, find the songs, find the movements that can then take this out. And obviously, Jenny, I think from memory, she's a manifesting generator. So she has all the fire and all the energy in the world to just continuously be on and continuously promote B class. And so, yeah, I feel like for you, if the live classes, if the live sessions are not really that well attended, then perhaps that's just a little ask from the universe for you to keep at that top level, and have the others that have that beautiful energy to just be constantly on, to be live on Instagram, on Facebook, to promote that then on your behalf. So who knows? That might be a little bit of an experimentation for you to work with as well.
Yes, love it. What would you say there's one thing in my human design that you would want to touch base on that's kind of interesting to you, or links or doesn't link with the B class?
Oh, look, I don't think there is anything in here that doesn't link with it. The thing always is when we talk about purpose, it's people have such a narrow conception of what purpose really truly is. There is no such thing as the universe has only given you this one purpose, and if you miss that purpose, then you have missed your calling. It doesn't work that way. As I said earlier, as long as you have some sort of a fire in your belly, in your heart, in your body, and you're doing something that truly lights you up, you are following your purpose. What's really interesting about you is the fact that you actually have a little bit of definition in your chart compared to some of the other projectors. So you're a little bit more closed in some of the chakras, which means that you're not so open to other people's judgments and other people's perceptions. So it perhaps allowed you a little bit more to bring that creation into life. You also have a defined root center, which means that whilst adrenal burnout for projectors is still a topic to be conscious of, but by having that defined root chakra, it means that you can actually do cardiac exercises without linking directly into your adrenals. So that's good. What's interesting is the direct connection from your ajna, which is sort of your computer processing system chakra, really. A direct connection to the throat through that 2343 channel. Whilst I don't exactly know what that channel is on top of my head because there's too many to remember, it means that the expression and the manifestation of what's in your head comes out obviously through an expression. And so for me, throat is not just talking, it's also expressing. And that obviously comes through in your chart as well, which is really beautiful. And then you have an emotional solar plexus, so you're someone who has to sit on decisions for 24 to 48 hours to gain that clarity, but it also means that you're an incredibly emotional being. And I think those emotions really come through in the B class because, yeah, we wouldn't be tearing up in the middle of the B class if it wasn't probably for your emotional connection there. So yeah, there is a lot of beautiful stuff in your chart. Too much to go into in one reading, obviously, or in one podcast session. But the thing is, what I have found with human design, it's all around, this is your GPS to home. This is your fastest way to home. And when you have a full reading and you read that full report, and you sit with it and you just think, oh, but I don't know whether that's me. That's probably either conditioning or societal expectation that has made you believe something that might not necessarily be you. And for projectors, that's obviously something very big to work through because as projectors, you don't feel like you always belong in this society. You always feel like we're not completely getting who you are and what you're capable of. And you're like, really? Like, how can you not see what I'm seeing? It's that simple. It's not that simple for us. Let me tell you that.
Oh, yeah. I think that's my hardest thing. The hardest thing.
So how do you use that when it comes to training up your leaders? Because you would have such a tight vision in your heart for this and you would see it so clearly. Like, how do you actually have the ability to bring that across, to make people really feel that and really embody that?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think it took me a long time because at the beginning when I was certifying girls, yeah, I guess I just had such a strong vision of how I wanted them to lead. And I had to teach all these like things that I just knew, these things that where I was like, okay. And then I had to put explanations to why I did what I did, or how to make it like this and how to make it like that. And I just had to like educate that, and just share that and teach that, and not expect that they would know that, because I was like, those are my crazy little things in my head. But they're the things that work, that I see make the room special, or okay, you can do it really good if you do it like this. Because I
Wow.
always have the right way. That's, I think that's the thing with the projector too. It's like, your way is the right way, and it's just like you just have to kind of orchestrate that.
Yeah.
But then it's really cool when they get it, because they see the difference. Or I had to learn, like, okay, this is their first time, they're leading their first class, and there's going to be some like moments, but then I started to see like they needed to hear the mistakes, and they needed to hear what I was telling them, and then they needed to like make the mistake, and then they needed to grow, and then they needed to, all of a sudden they were doing it. It's like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Wow.
And some of them faster than the others, right? Some of them,
Yeah.
some of them would, because we would be in the room and there'd be like, let's say 5 to 10 women taking the training. And let's give an example where it was like, okay, the last song was on, and tempo, and all of a sudden tempo beats happen, and we were just going to go into Shavasana. And some of them would just be like, okay, just let the music do its thing, and then talk over top of the loud music, where I'd be like, no, you have to like orchestrate the volume, and you have to like make it like a whole experience. So you have to like, and I would teach them to be like, you got to be doing this while you're talking, while you're telling them how to lie down, turn the volume down on your phone, turn your body around, speak to the room, speak slow, speak like this. And I would just like over teach, but it works.
Wow. Yeah. So this is amazing that you already have that knowing and that intuitive drop in that you just needed to share that with everyone, because so my husband to be, he's a projector as well, very different business, he runs an accounting business, but he always says to me, Alice, why does nobody see the world that I see it in accounting? And I said to him, because nobody has your genius that way that you have it. And so I think one of his biggest struggles is, he says, it doesn't matter how many times I explain things on how I do it, people still can't replicate that and they can't get it. So maybe he needs to touch base with you, because you have the ability to obviously instruct people to really drop into that and say, okay, so this is, and I know exactly what you're talking about when you say you're orchestrating the experience from the higher tempo to then the slower beats and the Shavasana, and really then getting back into the body and bringing yourself down, like grounding. Because that's what Jenny does so well. The aircon is being turned off, the fans are being turned off, and if there is still light that can be dimmed, then obviously that's going to be done. So I know exactly what you're talking about, and I think that's the beauty of having that ajna connected to your throat, is that you have the ability to really vocalize that and share that and say, this is the reason why we're doing it. Because you can't assume that everyone sees the world you do, because they're not. Wow, what a gift. I mean, it seems like you're already doing so much without even, having a full-blown report that would probably identify a lot of those things for you as well. You just intuitively know it. And this is the thing that I find about human design as well. It gives us that permission to say, I had this knowing in my body, but, then sometimes the crazy brain goes like, but do you really? And it's like, no, 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 no. I now have my permission slip, because it's written black on white here on a piece of paper to say that this is how the cosmos programmed me, and I'm going to lean into it. Yeah,
Human design is amazing.
I
It's,
know.
and a lot of people I talk about it all the time. And when you meet people that kind of know a little bit about it, they can, but it's a way better it helps people understand themselves a bit more.
Yeah. And, I was someone who was exposed to so many different personality profiling tools in the corporate world. Whenever we did some sort of a motivational afternoon or, realigning with our values and all the stuff that we do in corporate, it was like either Myers-Briggs or DISC or that. And it's like, yeah, but something is still missing. And so when I came across human design, it was just like, holy smokes, this is what I have been sensing in my body all my life, because I was gifted with, 3 Leos in my life. So my sister, my dad, and myself are all Leos. We're all so different. And I was like, well, who comes up with this imprint at birth to say, this is the type of Leo that you are, this is the type of Leo that you are? And so I feel like, being exposed to all those different modalities and life experiences and then human design landing in my lap, I was like, that's my answer. I've been searching for this my entire life, and suddenly the universe is like, and now you're ready.
Amazing.
It was hilarious. Yeah, it was so amazing because I find a lot of the personality profiling tools are incredibly situational, because they're obviously based on a questionnaire, and depending on how you feel on the day, you might answer it this way or you might answer it that way, but your time, place and date of birth just doesn't lie. Unless somebody recorded it in the wrong way, that could obviously be the case. But no, that's why I'm just so passionate about sharing this with people, because especially as heart-centered leaders and those that have a vision in their heart that they want to bring to life, we have so much self-doubt and so much hesitation, and so many people in our lives that always say, you can't do this, like, you're going to fail, this is going to happen to you, like, don't leave the pack. It's dangerous to leave the pack. And so if you can lean back into your human design and say, no, I'm a pioneer, I'm here to do this, I'm meant to be walking a couple of steps ahead of everyone else. Yes, it will be scary, but if I surround myself with the right people, I will also be held. And I know that I'm trusting the universe, and I know that I will be held by the universe. Yeah. So I feel like, anyone who has a passion for movement, who has that fire in their belly after they've done a couple of B classes, if they're a generator or a manifesting generator, they could literally take this anywhere.
I know. It's like, that's who I gotta find, right? Manifesting generators.
Yes. And, if you have somebody that is a manifestor that really has a big passion for the B class, but that doesn't want to end up teaching the B class like in a way that Jen does, where she created that community and where she teaches it so often every day or every week, then the manifestors can come in and they can create the movement, as in the tribe, and say, hey, I've got this new thing, you all need to follow us if you believe in it. And then you have other people around it that then execute it because they have the battery and the capacity to do that. So from a human design perspective, what you're doing is brilliant. You're kind of in that CEO position. You're kind of leading everything. And you obviously have really beautiful people around you that help you execute on your dream that you have been given. Have you read Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert?
No, I've heard about it. I haven't read it.
Yeah, so Big Magic basically says that there is an infinite amount of ideas floating around in the universe, and ideas will land with us, and then we have to make a contract. We either have to say, okay, I really love this idea and I'm going with it, or you kind of have to say, you know what, beautiful idea, but thank you, this is not for me. I'm happy for you to move on to someone else. And so it just seems like with you, the idea landed with you, you created the contract with the idea, and your life mission is just now to bring all that joy into the world. And yeah, well done.
And keep creating.
And keep creating, exactly, because, who knows where this is going to go?
Yeah, I know. I have to not cap it. Let it go. Let it be.
I know, and this is sometimes so hard as well when we have our human limitation, isn't it? Where we're like, oh, but I can't possibly go that big. I can't possibly, be more widely known than Zumba, or I can't possibly be this. But it's like, well, why not?
I love that.
Let's overtake Zumba. I want the B class to be bigger than Zumba, because Zumba for me, coming from Europe, was such a household name. And I would love for B class to be a household name.
So would I. That's always what I
Hopefully.
like anticipated for it. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
Oh, we still have so much time. We still have so much time. And there is more and more people waking up to the new consciousness, the new world that will need this. And that will need communities and homes to come together as well, where we share that experience and where we share the vibration of it as well. So, yeah, I have no doubt in my mind where this goes.
Oh, awesome.
Terrific. Anything that you would love to leave us with here in Australia or wherever this goes in the world? I mean, this is the good thing about podcasting. You just never know where this podcast might go.
Yeah, I think just keep sharing it. People will be hesitant to come. Friends will turn you down over and over to come to the class, but keep harassing them with your heart, with your spirit, and just drag people. They just need to come. They need to just come try it. Keep spreading the
I
word,
agree.
sharing it, talking about it, wearing the apparel, like understand how to explain what it is, and just it's all about how you make people feel.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And you make people feel beautiful in a very empowering, a new way that I have not seen in the fitness industry.
Hmm.
Yeah. So thank
Hmm.
you so much for sharing your gift with us.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much for your time today. I really appreciate that. And let's see where this seed continues to grow into. Hopefully, a big, big acorn tree.
Yes, and then maybe I'll meet you one day in person.
We'll make that happen. I either fly across the globe to you or you come to Australia, whichever way. I'm signed up to this retreat,
I'm
so let's
definitely
make
I'm
it
definitely
happen.
coming to Australia, and I think I can't believe you said that all tonight about the retreat because we were just talking about that on the weekend with a bunch of girls. So I just have to commit to a date.
And I'm going to add one little thing here because this was sort of the calculations that I was doing with Jenny. So obviously, I'm a business coach, so I'm like, you have a fire in your heart. We need to get this out. But what does that look like from a conversion point of view as well? And if you have such a massive following, if you just put out a retreat date now, or even just a wait list, an expression of interest, you're going to have this filled without even trying because your following is so massive. And if you just go by the industry rule of anywhere between 3 and 10%,
Hmm.
that is literally it. So you now have a following big enough where you can just drop these, save the dates, or you just drop the wait list and it will do its thing. You don't need to do much. And this is the
Yeah.
beautiful thing about being that projector and really stepping into that projector being where it's like you just know whatever you roll out, it's just done like that. But just don't try and run the retreat by yourself, please.
Yeah.
Please get some other people in so you're the dreamer of the dream
Yeah.
and you get the others in to execute on the logistics, all the generators and the manifesting generators. They're going to run the day to day. They're going to run the behind the scenes, and you obviously just come in with your beautiful vision and with the execution of it.
Awesome. Thanks,
That's
Alice.
how it should roll. Awesome. Well, thank you again for your time. And we can't wait to see you in Australia. Once you do book that plane ticket, I'll be shouting it from the rooftops. I know Jenny has some really exciting plans for the B class, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen over the next 12, 24 months. And yeah, you have my fire in the belly with the B class ignited. And I thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Thank you.